Wolverine is more than just claws and a healing factor. He is pain. He is loss. He is a man who has suffered so much that even his body refuses to die, forcing him to endure every heartbreak, every war, every betrayal. Some heroes wear capes and fight for justice. Wolverine fights because he has no choice. His story is not about winning, it's about survival. And even when he does survive, he loses. This is a deep dive into the life of Wolverine, the most broken hero in Marvel Comics. Chapter 1: The boy who was doomed from the start. Before he was Wolverine, before he was Logan, he was James Howlett, the frail son of a wealthy Canadian family in the late 1800s. From the moment he was born, he was sickly, weak, and constantly suffering from mysterious illnesses. His mother, Elizabeth Howlett, was emotionally shattered, haunted by the loss of her first son, John Jr. His father, John Howlett Sr., was a kind but distant man, trying to hold together a family that was already falling apart. But the Howlett estate had another figure lurking in the shadows, Thomas Logan, the violent, alcoholic groundskeeper. No one knew the truth. Thomas Logan was James' real father, a secret that would destroy everything. One night, Thomas broke into the Howlett estate in a drunken rage. He killed John Howlett Sr. and tried to take Elizabeth with him. That was the moment everything changed. James, the sickly, fragile boy, felt a pain unlike anything before. His hands burned, his bones twisted, and for the first time in his life, his true nature was revealed. Sharp, bone claws erupted from his hands. In a blind, animalistic rage, he lunged at Thomas Logan, stabbing him through the chest. The man who had taken everything from him lay dead at his feet. But there was no victory. No relief. His mother, instead of embracing him, looked at him with horror and disgust. She did not see her son, she saw a monster. And in that moment of despair, she turned a gun on herself and pulled the trigger. James' world was shattered. The Howlett estate burned. His childhood, his family, his identity, gone. He ran. He ran as far as he could, leaving behind the name James Howlett, becoming simply Logan, an outcast, a wanderer. But no matter where he went, he could never outrun the monster inside him. This was the first time he lost everything. But it would not be the last. Chapter 2: A life of war, blood, and loneliness. Logan wandered. He lived among wolves, becoming more animal than man. He was captured and enslaved by a cruel landowner, only to escape and continue running. But no matter where he went, violence followed. When World War I erupted, Logan fought. His healing factor and mutant instincts made him a natural warrior, but every battle took something from him. He saw men slaughtered in trenches, bodies burnt to ash, and friends die in his arms. Then came World War II. He fought alongside Captain America, taking on the Nazis, Hydra, and anyone who stood in his way. He survived explosions, bullets, torture. But he also watched entire cities turn to dust. He witnessed the horrors of Hiroshima, the destruction of lives in an instant. And through it all, he remained alive, but never truly living. War was all he knew. Death was his constant companion. And no matter how much blood he spilled, he never felt whole. But his worst nightmare was still ahead of him. Chapter 3: Weapon X, The Death of Logan and the Birth of Wolverine. Logan's suffering reached its peak when he was captured by a secret government program, Weapon X. They didn't just want a soldier. They wanted a weapon. They wiped his memories. They stripped away whatever humanity he had left. And then they strapped him to a cold metal table and injected molten adamantium into his skeleton. The pain was beyond anything a normal man could endure. His healing factor kept him alive, but it also made him feel every second of the agony. By the time the experiment was complete, Logan was no longer a man. He was something else. A living weapon. A killing machine. They sent him on missions, using him as a mindless tool of destruction. He was nothing more than an animal, a berserker with no past, no future, no name. But somewhere, deep inside, the real Logan was still there, fighting to break free. And when he finally did, he tore through the Weapon X facility in a blood-soaked massacre. He killed everyone in his path, escaping into the wilderness, but the damage was already done. He was no longer just Logan. He was Wolverine. And the memories of his past. Gone. Stolen. Erased. For years, he wandered, trying to piece together who he was. But every time he uncovered something, it only led to more pain. Chapter 4, Love and Loss, the women who broke him. For all his pain, for all his rage, Logan still had a heart. And that heart was broken over and over again. He loved Jean Grey. She saw past the clothes, past the rage, into the man he could have been. But she was with Scott Summers. And no matter how much Logan loved her, he could never have her. Then she died. Then she came back. Then she died again. Each time, it tore Logan apart. He could never save her. He could never hold on to the one person who truly understood him. Then there was Mariko Yashida, the woman who made Logan believe he could have a normal life. They were supposed to be married. He was ready to leave the violence behind. But before they could be together, she was poisoned. Logan had to do the unthinkable, end her suffering with his own claws. Another person he loved, gone. And then came Dakin. His son. A child he never knew existed, raised in hatred, manipulated into believing Logan was his enemy. By the time Logan realized the truth, it was too late. Their relationship was built on blood and violence, and in the end, Logan was forced to do what no father should ever have to do. He killed his own son. Chapter 5, Old Man Logan, the ultimate tragedy. In one of the darkest futures, Logan lived in a dystopian wasteland where the villains had finally won. The world's heroes were dead. The Red Skull ruled America. The Hulk's inbred children terrorized the land. And the worst part? Logan had killed the X-Men. Mysterio had tricked him into believing he was fighting enemies. In reality, he had slaughtered his family, his friends, his students, everyone he had ever cared about. When the illusion finally broke, he collapsed in horror. He swore to never fight again. He buried his clothes. He lived in exile. But peace never lasts. The Hulk's children came for his new family. And Logan, despite everything, was forced back into battle. No matter how much he tried to escape, violence always found him. The final question, can Wolverine ever find peace? This is the tragedy of Wolverine. His healing factor keeps him alive, but it also forces him to watch everyone he loves die. He has seen entire generations pass, while he remains the same. He has fought in wars, lost friends, buried lovers, and endured centuries of pain. So the question remains, can Wolverine ever find peace? Or is he doomed to suffer forever? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to see just how brutal Wolverine can be, check out our video on his greatest fights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the world of comics.